You know, I was pondering something the other day and I truly felt like disc golf is the only sport where people that are doing it for YouTube can actually become a pro level player, aka Bodanza. But then YouTube does what it does and recommended me more golf content, even though I hate golf content. But this one was very interesting because it was about a YouTuber called Bryan, who actually has been doing YouTube for a long time and participated in his first pro tour event. And it really does make me wonder, how the heck are people able to do this stuff? How can you manage to be a full-time YouTuber while still becoming the most elite at a particular sport? Today, I will go into that and figure out why it is possible and why it seems to be so rare in this world. And before we get into the video, I'll be giving away one bag to a random comment. All you have to do is be subscribed and comment your favorite disc golf YouTuber, and I'll randomly select one winner. But if you don't want to roll the odds, you can get a great bag at my site at wildrunsdiscgolf.com. All right, back to the video. All right, so just to go over what has actually gone down in the YouTube area scene, these are just the people that have kind of blown up recently. I'm not saying this is a comprehensive list, but it is just a good reference point for how good these YouTubers truly are. All right, so YouTuber Jay Millie, which I'm sure you've probably seen a couple of his videos because they are just blowing up right now. He posted a video about how he got second place at a national AM event. Now this was MA2, but still phenomenal stuff for somebody that you don't really expect to be a great player because they are just kind of getting off the ground on YouTube and you don't really project amazing performance. But I would say he's definitely on track to being a much more highly rated player than he is because he's currently at like 945. And then next up, it has to be one of the most insane progressions I've ever seen. Anthony Bodanza with a 924 rating in August of last year, currently rated 988. And to go along with that, he has one MPO win and a cashing finish at a Silver Series event, the Kansas City Wide Open, with a year-long earning of $2,400. But this is still paling in comparison to what the golf world offers. The YouTuber Bryan just played his first PGA event, and even though he was on the bottom cusp of the cash line, he still did cash and got $13,000 for it, which I'm sure is probably nothing in the golf world, but for us disc golfers, man, $13,000 feels like bank. So you may be wondering, how is this possible? How can these people that are just doing YouTube still be so proficient at the sport? Well, I have a couple ideas. First one being they have built-in practice. Because you're constantly filming, constantly working on your repetition and form will just inevitably lead you to being a better player. And so many of us, while we want to be like super good, super consistent, we don't have the ability to do that because we have family events, we have jobs, we have lots of other activities that take higher precedence than training at disc golf. But if this is effectively your job, then you have a much more attainable way to becoming a top level player. Now, this certainly doesn't mean that it is an easy journey, but it definitely gives you a lot more favorable factors to becoming a much better player. And along with the built-in practice, there is the constant awareness / judgment from everybody watching you and the comments and people critiquing you that it probably does feel like it's actually a tournament round every time you film, because you know you have to play it as clean as you can, otherwise people will be commenting about how awful your form is. And if you do have a very noticeable error in your form, you can correct it. And what's even more than that, if you are Bodanza or maybe somebody else, you can have pros literally coach you to become a better player because it is worth their while to engage with you as a content creator. It'll boost up their brand while also giving you the ability to become a much more clean thrower, aka Drew Gibson helping out Bodanza. And because of this constant feedback loop, you are just destined to becoming more efficient at correcting your issues. You may not become amazing, but you do have the opportunity to become a lot more aware than most players are. Next up, I want to talk about why this content is so very engaging to watch, because it does feel like it's almost like the pinnacle of disc golf YouTube from players that aren't pros. Because we watch Simon videos, we know it's amazing, but he's the top elite player. We are not that, so it is hard to relate somewhat because Simon is just in his own realm, doing his own thing, being top tier pro, but we will probably never be that. And so I think why it is so very attainable and very fun to watch as a viewer is because you know this is not a pro doing this stuff, this is a normal player that became great. So it feels much more attainable to us, and we can actually visibly watch the progression in the form and follow through and ultimately their overall finishes. So seeing that improvement over time and gradually seeing how much better of a player they become is wildly entertaining. And what's even more relatable is when they do have moments of failure, you can truly relate to it, because I'm sure all of us have had terrible rounds in a tournament that you just wanted to stop doing it, but you had to keep going. Whereas I feel like most pros, while they can have a bad tournament, for the most part, they're really not going to do that bad. They are a top elite pro, but so many of us just are not ever consistent, which is why we're in MA2, MA1, and we will never get to be in that higher rank because our inconsistency is what holds us back. And the ability to manage stress stress while still filming, while still doing tournament rounds is so incredibly interesting because it's like doubly intense. You have people judging you from YouTube, you have the entire tournament you want to do well at, you have the worry that if you do have any foot faults, people will be going crazy in the comments saying, hey, you cheated. Whereas if you're just playing without any filming, then it is a totally different endeavor. But that stress management is what truly makes these players, I believe, to be a step above the game. So lastly, I wanted to talk about, are these events where these YouTubers continually play well at tournaments going to progress, or will it become kind of a one-off with very rare reoccurrences? So for me, I think this will keep happening. I think social media will be more and more prevalent as to becoming a viable player, whereas tournament winnings will just never really reach that same factor. But your ability to get followers, get sponsors, to become self-sustaining, to me just feels so much more realistic and attainable in this current dynamic. And to go along with that, the ability to watch technique videos and improve faster just as a solo player has infinitely increased. Like Leon Sonletner, that is a top finish pro that can explain how to do proper form in a very easy to understand way. How to truly execute proper form will inevitably make you a stronger player as long as you truly commit to becoming a better player. And because I truly believe that half the battle is the ability to commit time to becoming a better player, I think this is where the YouTubers will truly fall in line to becoming elite level players and maybe becoming actual pros. You also have the ability to play in very low peak times. So if you want to play in the morning while everyone's at work, you have the ability to do that because you are a full-time content creator. If you want to just do field work, you still have a big advantage because you don't have to worry about crazy traffic times. You can kind of just do whatever. And if you're wanting to play a very complex long course that would usually take 2 to 3 hours on a normal day, you can really rush that in like a single hour if you're doing it when everyone else is gone. And I think this is a big advantage because you have the ability to keep on practicing consistently throughout the entire year without having to worry about peak moments. And then the last point I wanted to bring up is that I have seen so many phenomenal young players, literally 12 to 14 to 16-year-olds playing in my tournaments that are by far the cleanest execution, phenomenal putters. They don't have a single shot that they're afraid of. And because of all these factors, they routinely blow me away by how good they are. And I think it is inevitable for these players to find a good area on social media that they want to explore. And since they already have the base of being a great player with great form, I think their videos will definitely shine through. But that's just my thoughts. I'd love to know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Wild Runs, signing out. Peace.